Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video, doing the ECMWF 30-day forecast for today's first video. So this is also on a Tuesday, we're having a look at the weather for the next 4 weeks across the UK and also Europe as well. It's a European outlook for the next 30 days. So I shall get on with that for you very shortly. Coming up later on today, we're going to have a 10 to 14 day update that will include all of regular features as well, and that's going to be coming up later on this afternoon. Now we can show you like 6 weeks of data with this model, but we will stop at week 4 as this is a 30-day look at. It's a 4-week forecast. We'll show you weeks 5 and 6 data from this update of the ECMWF as part of our live stream tomorrow from 6 o'clock in the evening. Right, let's go with it then. So we're going to start off with the week 1 mean surface pressure anomaly. This takes us from the 25th of January to the 1st of February. Blocking to the north, as it has been throughout all of winter so far, most winter anyway. High pressure sitting around Greenland and Iceland. This week we will be bringing in low pressure from off the Atlantic over into northern Europe as well, though. Jet streams generally going to be pushed a little bit further southwards. We will bring some colder air into the north at times, but most places actually can be a little bit less cold, I think, in the week ahead. 500 millibar height anomaly for week 1 from the North Pole view down for the 25th of January, 1st of February. Shows again low pressure in from the Atlantic into much of northern central Europe. In fact, most parts of Europe under low pressure. We do have higher pressure down towards Spain, however. You see where the northern blocking is in the weekend. There's still quite a lot of it within the Arctic regions. Jet stream still generally pushing a little bit further southwards, but not quite as far south as it has been at times through this January. So temperature anomaly looks like this for Europe. So still colder than average actually in the week ahead for much of Scandinavia. Still actually quite cold for the UK and for Ireland. It's expected to be a rather milder week this week, but the ECM shows a rather cold sort of temperature anomaly for any parts of UK and Ireland. Now France, Spain, Portugal going milder than average, so milder than average into west and southwest of Europe, and particularly mild over in the far east and northeast of Europe. So like particularly like into northwestern Russia, and then on the Europe-Russian border, looking very mild through there. Down to the Mediterranean. So quite a mild scene through most parts of the Med. Actually, it's a little bit cold across northern Italy, but really it's a mild scene really for most parts of the Med, from Spain, Portugal and west, right way over to Greece and Turkey in the east. So it is a milder week through most parts of Europe, but clearly this northwestern corner, Ireland, UK, northern Germany, probably the Low Countries, and particularly Denmark and Scandinavia, standing out as being quite cold still in the week ahead. And the week 1 precipitation anomaly is looking like this. So again, we see where the blocking is, like from Iceland to Sweden and Norway, and covering northern Scotland as well, and Denmark also. It's drier through those areas. Going further southwards, we find that it's particularly unsettled through these western parts of Europe, and especially so from like France into Germany, looking very wet through there. Of course, as that runs into cold air, some of that will be snow. And then on this eastern side of Europe, also looking quite unsettled as well. So it is a pretty unsettled scene through most parts of Europe in the week ahead. The jet stream position is probably going to be through there, I would have thought. So jet stream is a little bit further north than it has been through this winter, but still generally south of its normal position. Remember, normal position in winter for the jet stream is through here. That'll be like the normal jet stream position in the North Atlantic through Iceland and into northern Scandinavia. Down in the Mediterranean, it's a rather dry week through the central bowl of the Med, so not looking too bad actually for the central Med. A lot of dry weather coming up there. Spain and Portugal looking rather unsettled, especially so in the north, and a little bit on the unsettled side, even down into the southeastern part Mediterranean as well. Right, so you go through to week 2, which will take us from the 1st through to the 8th of February, and we look like this. The low pressure sort of centred just to west of Ireland by then. Just generally looking quite unsettled, with low pressure covering many parts of Europe. High pressure blocking is still there in the north, maybe receding back a little bit. Maybe that's not quite as strong for blocking through the first week of February, but still I think generally much of northern Europe, particularly Scandinavia, like to be quite cold. Here, jet stream again, probably just a little bit further northwards through the first week of February. The 500 millibar height anomaly for week 2 looks like this. If it's going to update, maybe it's not going to update. It looks like it's running rather slow. There we go. It looks like that. So again, we've got the blocking signal within the normal latitudes. Up here, low pressure is around the west of Europe, or a trough of below average heights around west of Europe. High pressure originating from southern Europe into southeastern Europe. A jet stream doing something a little bit like that. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly for week 2. Still rather on the cold side for northwestern Europe, so Scandinavia again coming out quite cold, and into the UK, especially for the northern parts of Britain, and into Ireland as well. Does look pretty cold through there. Still mild on average in this west and southwest part of Europe, so France, down Spain and Portugal, quite mild through there. East and southeast Europe standing out being particularly mild, so from Greece and Turkey up the Black Sea into southern parts of Russia, very mild through there in those deep red colours. That temperature almost around 6 degrees or more above average, I think. And then in between those milder and colder areas, you've got this white area just here. That's where it's probably an equal chance it either being a bit milder than average or a bit colder than average. But clearly it's still the same idea. The coldest weather is in the northwest, but the mildest weather is in this east and southeast corner. Mediterranean-wise, again, most parts of the Med looking milder than average. The week 2 precipitation anomaly looks like that. So fundamentally, not really a great deal changing. It's still drier than average in the North Atlantic over Scandinavia. Indicative where the blocking is going to be. It's still wetter than average, you like, particularly northern Spain and Portugal, into France, and just about into Ireland and southern parts of the UK as well. Eastern Europe a little bit above average with precipitation there, and in the Mediterranean, again, a lot of dry weather through the central bowl of the Med, and that does extend over towards Greece as well. Week 3 mean sea level pressure anomaly will take us from the 8th to the 15th of February. This looks like it could be getting colder, if anything, across northern Europe, as the high pressure is actually strengthening around Greenland and Iceland, which you will think is going to pull the wind into the east and the north and the northeast across much of northern and western Europe anyway. Low pressure looks like it's sinking further southwards into southern Europe, probably taking the jet stream all the way down into the Mediterranean as well. So maybe we go into like the second week of February, and if anything, the blocking signal gets even stronger. Week 3 500 millibar height anomaly shows the above average heights extending down from the Arctic into the North Atlantic. Again, you would assume that's going to pull the wind in to the east and the north and the northeast across much of northern Europe. The temperature anomaly for week 3, actually not as cold, but I would have thought that's likely to be an even colder week, really. It could be that it's going further out, the signal is getting weaker, but based on the 500 millibar height anomaly and also the mean sea level pressure anomaly, I would have thought that for particularly like the UK and Ireland, and probably Germany, Low Countries, northern France, those sort of areas, I would have thought that's a colder week. In that second week of February. Anyway, it is still coldest in the northwest, which is Scandinavia, coming out colder than average. Mildest in the east and the southeast. Notice those mild and average temperatures across France, Spain are beginning to fade as well. I think this is turning colder as we move in towards the middle part of February, if anything. And the precipitation anomaly is weakening, but you can see where it's driest up here. So that's where the blocking is, blocking extending out of the Arctic down towards Scotland and into the North Atlantic. Again, all indicative of what could be really quite a cold week coming up. Eastern, southeast Europe have the wettest weather through there. Signals are weakening though, of course. And then finally for this update, we'll stop at week 4, which gets us from the 15th to the 22nd of February, and then everything is going very, very vague indeed. So very difficult to work out what is happening. It looks like we've got plenty of low pressure in the east and the southeast of Europe. Otherwise, there's no real signal to work on here. A little bit of low pressure appearing in the Norwegian Sea, though, might be indicative of a rather more unsettled week, with maybe winds going back into the west again. But I mean, it's such a weak signal that we can't really draw any conclusions from that. The 500 millibar height anomaly looks like the high pressure is centering down to southwest now. So this probably is starting to pull in some milder air from the west and from the southwest, actually. So that could be a milder week for Western and Northern Europe. The precipitation, the temperature anomaly, I should say, very, very weak signals. Still it's a little bit cold on average for Scandinavia. Mild average in this far east and southeastern part of Europe. I think this is trying to get wind back into the west and pull the air in from off the Atlantic in this week. The week for precipitation anomaly, again, so weak, it's hard to decipher a great deal. It's a little bit wetter through here. I think there's just a little bit of a change taking place here with a bit more of an Atlantic influence, high pressure down to the southwest through here, around the Azores to Spain, perhaps lower pressure coming back around Iceland. Just generally a return of westerlies, particularly for more western parts of Europe. This east and southeast part of Europe, I think, is under a trough of low pressure, so through here it could be colder actually, and very wintry as well. But it's a very weak signal, and it's 4 weeks away, so it's not really worth concentrating on too much. We'll extend out even further beyond that into weeks 5 and 6, taking into March, in a live stream tomorrow. So generally quite a lot of cold weather coming up, especially for the first half of February, for much of Europe. And there may be indications that things might get a little bit less cold, a little bit more Atlantic driven in the second half of the month, but this is all a really long way off. Right, that's it for that one then. We'll be back later on with the 10 to 14 day update, including all our break features, so come back for that then. For this ECM 30-day forecast, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.